Hi there and welcome back to 32-bit Rant, and today we're going to be looking at this laptop here. So on the front, as you can see, it's got the clasp. It's a Toshiba and it's a 7020CT from 1999. Now this laptop runs with a Pentium II running at a whopping 366 MHz along with 192 megs of RAM. That seems like absolutely nothing compared to modern computers. The computer itself has a large selection of ports. That's a lie, actually. However, it's quite easy to expand this. The great majority of ports on this laptop live under these flaps here. This one here contains a USB port. This bit here is an infrared port used for devices such as PDAs. This one here contains a bit for the docking station along with the optional Toshiba floppy disk drive. This here is the power button accompanied with a reset button, and this here is a dual PCMCIA card slot which either supports 2 Type 2 cards or 1 Type 3 card. On the front you have the latches for locking the PCMCIA cards. For removing the PCMCIA cards. You also have the volume control along with a microphone port and a headphone port. These are both stereo. On this side you have a little fold-in modem thing here, which totally wouldn't break if I can focus in it. Don't know if I can, but there is the modem port and the air vent for the CPU. On the rear we have a standard 15-volt charging port and a VGA port for display. And on the bottom you can see the battery, the port for the other type of docking station, the trapdoor for the hard drive, the trapdoor for the RAM, and another panel here which doesn't actually come off, along with various labels and stickers and everything that came with the laptop. On the laptop itself, it has a nice keyboard, which, although having quite a strange layout, like for this enter key, etc., however, the form factor has a lot to do with that. It also only has the pointing knob. It doesn't have a proper track point because these at the time were pretty much in their infancy. It does have a speaker here, which when you're typing just normally you wouldn't actually be covering this, but I wouldn't advise using it. It's a mono speaker, and in all honesty it's not great. On the bezel for the screen you have a microphone which is also mono, so you're probably better just getting an external microphone if you're doing it in stereo, along with the function LEDs for caps lock, number pad and scroll lock. Along with the branding and model of the laptop, it is a Portege 7020CT. The keyboard itself, as mentioned, has a nice tactile feel to it. It's quite nice to use. It has its whole row of function keys along with standard keys, except the Windows key is up here, which was more common back then than it is now, where it's usually situated down here, along with these keys here being moved, and everything's just all kind of moved about, and it takes a little bit of getting used to, but it is a good keyboard to use. And of course, the track point itself is a bit annoying, but you can get used to it, and you will learn that tab and the arrow keys and the enter key are going to be your best friend for using this. As the laptop doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi, you need to use one of these PCMCIA cards. This one here is a Netgear one that is wireless. It does your Wi-Fi needs, and as such you just slot it in there, much like you would with any of these kind of cards, and you will be able to access the internet. The BIOS screen in this laptop isn't much really. You can navigate it and stuff. It gives you menus and everything else. And you can also check the second page using the page up and down keys here. To change settings you use the space and the backspace, and it's quite different from other BIOSes for PCs. However, it's good for just setting your average settings. I've got it all set the way I like it, so you can do that yourself. You probably know what you're doing. And at that, we'll just go into Windows. Now that we're in Windows, you can see that I'm running Windows 98. Which was the operating system this would have came with, or it would have came with NT. So this laptop is, as I said earlier, a Pentium II class machine. However, it has had a few upgrades, like the RAM from standard would be 64 megabytes and not that 128 megs. But also, I have upgraded the hard drive from 6.4 gigabytes to 40 gigabytes using an old hard disk I had that came from a Dell. Probably the best use for it. So you can see here, you can open things like, really to access the modern web, RetroZilla, which is a web browser based off Firefox 2, is an option. However, it won't render all the sites you might need it to render. So this one here, Opera, the newest one that will run without patches and stuff, is good enough. However, it's not advisable that you use the web. You just use one of these for gaming. So obviously, Opera's here, and it works. And you can do DOS gaming on this, but it's not that great, if I'm honest. Like, graphics performance is excellent thanks to that NeoMagic MagiGraph graphics chip of some description with 2.5 megs of video memory. However, the sound is where it kind of gets let down. I know it's an ESS chip, right? They're pretty decent usually, but this one's just not as good. Like, the quality's passable, but I wouldn't say it's much more than that. Like, you can play Doom and stuff if you really wanted to. Like, I'll put Doom up there now. It's better to run it through Windows because then the sound actually works. I haven't quite got the drivers working for DOS. And as you can see, Doom now runs. And runs very well. However, one thing I will say is, can't really go past about 1997 for 3D and 2D games, because after that, this kind of loses all capabilities. Like, the graphics is dramatically underpowered for what else you'd have on a PC of the time period. But overall, this one's running off battery right now, actually. I can get about an hour and a half out of the battery, which is amazing. But it's a decent enough laptop for, well, it was ideal for word processing and stuff back in its time. And if that really takes your fancy, you can do that now. In fact, I've done it a couple of times just to see what it's like typing on this keyboard. And it's not bad. However, if you're going to go for gaming, try and get yourself, if it's more Windows games you're going for, get yourself a Pentium II based laptop with ideally about 8 megs of inbuilt video RAM and a pretty decent graphics chip. However, if you're playing DOS games and stuff, anything from like a Pentium class or higher with a built-in sound card would be doing great. So anyway, we'll end that video just now, and at that, I will see you all in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. So, farewell, adios, and whatever else takes your fancy, goodbye.